Well, decided to feed the cows this morning. I'm finishing up the cubes there, and we're going to take the tractor back to the barn. I moved them over here because of the inclement weather. They got better cover over here. Of course, they've already found the hay that I've rolled out for them. That's dry. We had quite a bit of rain last night, and so I had put the tractor and bale up in the hay barn and kept it dry for them. And as you can see, they're happy to get to it. And we got one of the older cows down here. She has rolled that hay bale all the way down the hill and got it all to herself, looks like. Should be good there. I think that's number 4. If I'm correct. So I've got the girls set up for the day. They should be good there. You see some of them's up there, and now they've all found that hay back there. I'll roll that out for them. It goes all the way back into the woods. Back over there, we can't see it. They've got some cover. There's trees, there's a big cedar in there. They can get around. And there's some smaller ones back over there, so I think they'll be good. Well, we're going to go check the water station this morning. We had a low of 12 degrees this morning. I came up less. Oh, I guess it was yesterday and found it froze up a little bit. But I thought I'd show you how much ice we get on this water station. And we've got a little slush on there this morning. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. Float is free though. Cows kept it pretty well open overnight. You can kind of see these girls. Here, they're coming up this way. They want to see me. As you can see, they're moving this way. How we doing, girls? Yeah, pull in a little bit. You can see these cows a little better. This is one of last year's heifers that was born. So these are the bulls. Number 10, 50, and number 30. They're the only animals on the farm that really have a name. The oldest one, number 10, that's Pokey. He got his name because he was always the last one to go anywhere, and Bruce is on the side there. Buster's in the middle, and these are the goats. We've got 2 billies, an older one there in the middle, and this brown one, he was born 2 years ago. And we put him out some hay today. I've also got a big leftover bale up there in the hay ring that I made. Keeps the hay off the ground and keeps the cows from trampling it and the goats from laying in it too much. Of course, there's always one that has to get on top, no matter how big the bale is. It's a nice day here, 27th of February. Supposed to have a warm week. I doubt anything starts greening up, but at least we should see some warmer weather. And this is known as our goat lot. Or in years past, we called it the hog lot because my grandfather and my uncle all raised hogs in here. There was a little pond just beyond the cows there, or the bulls, and well, it growed up with trees and brush, and a few years back I took the track loader in there and opened it up and cleaned it out and got rid of the pond. So the water that fed that pond from a little spring still seeps water in there, so that area is still wet all the time. So these are our nanny goats. I've got 6. I know 2 are bred. This one and the one right over there, they're the older ones. These 2 right here, I believe at least one of them, one in the back and maybe this one up front, might be bred. And then the dark red one, which happens to be over here, she is, it's hard to say. She's always been kind of on the heavier side, but she might be also bred. And then of course we got the horse. Hey lady, how are you? She doesn't really like to be handled much. She has been ridden quite a bit in her life, but since we've gotten her, which has been about 3 years now, she just doesn't like to be caught. And she got rid of her halter a few years ago, and well, my plan is to get us a pen area installed this spring. And that's the purpose of this gate right here. My idea is to run a fence from, oh, say right here, just past that upper side of that tree down there where that green gate is, and then I'll start feeding them in there. And then the plan would be that she gets in there and I can close the gate and get her in a smaller area where I can get a hold of her. But we just brought them a 34% protein block, and I got them a sweet tub, small one over there. See the watering tank down there? That's a freeze proof made by Stewart. And so I thought I'd tell you a little bit about our pasture arrangement out here. Between me and the barn is about 6 acres, and I've had that subdivided into 6 1-acre pastures. Last year I wintered the cows in 3 of those acres, and then their watering station was directly behind me. I've been running water from the barn there in the background out this way, and you can see here there's a ditch line. I ran a 1-inch water service line up this ditch line, and then we went ahead and ran it out there. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I'll try to zoom it in. And right out at the back end of it, you'll see a little black area. Some fence posts are kind of in the way and blocking it. Let me see if I move over a little bit. Anyway, that's a water station out there, very similar to this water station I'm going to show you right here. So this is one of my water stations. I'm in paddock number 5. It's actually 5A, B, C, and D. I've got it subdivided into 4 1-acre paddocks. These water stations, as you can see, this is my first run at a waterproof or water freeze resistant watering system. I've got the these lids screwed down right now, and the reason they're screwed down is to keep junk out of them during the winter time. They are active, water's in them. we open them up this spring and start running the cattle in here, you'll get a better idea what they look like. I do have a couple of stills. This is my 3 freeze-proof cattle waterers, at least the prototype. And this is what it looks like on the inside. You can see I've got a hose, there's an adapter, there's a float valve that's down inside. Now you can see there's a water valve box out there. That water line, that's a ditch line. Again, it's got a 1-inch water service line in it, PVC, 3/4 inch, Schedule 40. And it goes out over the bridge to another water station just like this one. I then ran a water line, oh, you can kind of see it out, and it runs all the way out to the far end down there. And then I have it run, I put a T in and I ran that 1-inch water service line in 2 directions. I created a water station there, and then there's one over the other far side of those cattle. So they've all got water in this, what amounts to 36 acres. Some of it is in ground, some of it is temporary water stations that I just set up in the summer with a little float on them. So this is the number 4 cow. She's one of our first cows, and her hips have always been kind of bony, and I ended up selling her 2 heifer calves, or actually cows, that they just got really scrawny last year and we had to get rid of her. Number 5 cow, that's her over there. And you can tell she's got a nice body on her, a good body score. I'd say a good 5 probably. And not too tall in the legs. She actually produced a bull for me. We call him Buster, he's number 50. And over here, you can see number 411 looking at us. She is a 2nd-year heifer. She's bred, so, but you can tell she looks a lot like number 4, who is her grandmother. And she is out of one of the cows that we got rid of because of being a little bit on the scrawny side. So her overall body score isn't too bad, but she is just not built like number 5. And you can come down here and see some of the other herd. There's a nice looking heifer. I believe she's out of, well, let's see. That's number 111. She comes from the number 1 cow, which is in the background there. And she's the granddaughter. Number 11 is her mother. And she just happens to be right behind her. So those cows are all looking pretty good. I've got a couple that have just got bony hips on them, and we'll probably end up culling some of those over the next few years. One thing I have noticed is the calves on these 4th generation cows of mine are all very small, except for the steers. A couple of those steers are like their mothers. The ones out of 1 and number 3, they're both, or number 4, they're both bigger cows, and their calves seem to be bigger. At least the steer calves do. Well, good morning, cows. How y'all doing? There's 411 right there. She's a 2-year-old heifer that hasn't had her first calf yet, so I'm hoping this is the year she checked this fall as being bred, and she looks like she's a little puffy. This is one of last year's heifers. As you can see, most of my heifers from last year are all pretty small frames. There's one from last year. This is one, this is actually a steer from this last year, and you can tell the difference in size between those two. I had talked about this earlier. The bigger framed calves are generally out of my first generation cows we brought to the farm, and the smaller frames all tend to come out of the second and third generation, which makes me think that the second and third generation cows are all going to be producing smaller frame calves. You know, 230 right there, that's out of a second or third generation. Actually be the third generation of calves born on the farm. You can see the ear tags are numbered, like 112, 212 back there. This one here lost his. This is number 30. 411. Those ear tag numbers are a little different than what other people come up with for numbering. The first number in the tag identifies the original cows that we brought to the farm. So this is number 1. The second number, if you put the two together, 1 and 2, is number 11. So number 11 is the first heifer from the number 1 cow, and this is the second heifer right here in front of me from the number 11 cow. And this is the number 23 cow. She is the third cow that was actually born, or heifer, that came out of cow number 2. Now, cow number 2 is one of the cows that left the farm in the fall because 1, she wasn't bred back. 2, she had aborted twins 3 months early, so she left the farm. 23, as you can see though, even though 2 was one of my bigger frame cows, 2 is the short one. This is, she's going to have her second calf this year. The first calf is a small frame steer, and I guess that's what we're going to get out of her, because I don't think she's going to get too much bigger than what she is. She's she'll be three years old this year. The grass seems to be trying to grow a little bit this year. I noticed driving down the roadways, the ground's starting to green up a little bit. And I put out some hay for these guys a couple of days ago. They've got into some of it, but I think they're preferring going through and eating whatever kind of grass they can find, because they've still got quite a bit of hay laying on the ground. So I'm just thinking about putting them some more hay in here probably tomorrow, but I think they're going to be good for at least another day or two. So I know I'd like to start doing some rotation. We're going to be pulling the steers here on the 7th. Today's the 1st of March, so I'm going to have to start moving them over towards the corral, which is back in the background there. Zoom in on it a little bit. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's, let's see if I can show you where it's at. Well, anyway, it's back there in the back. And I'll start moving them cows that direction here probably a couple of days. I've got, well, there's actually 4 paddocks between here and the corral. I'll probably run them through with a bale of hay in each one of them. Hopefully they'll get that 8 down before I move them. If not, I'll move them back through and let them finish it up. That's cow number 11. And that would be cow number 11's first heifer calf. Actually, it was her first calf. She's only had heifers. I've got a couple of cows that are like that. All they ever have is heifers. Number 4 was one of them, although she did have one bull calf a couple of years ago, and I actually turned him into a steer right away. They're working this grass, what's left of it, and we'll be moving them out of here, I know, as soon as they get some of this stuff ate down, especially that hay I rolled out a couple of days ago. I was looking over a couple of them heifers from last year, and they're looking like they're starting to spring a little bit. Small bull calf went over the fence last spring in March, and I noted that I might have some calves coming early this year. Until next time, God bless you all.